Okay, I'm lifting the engine out. You see I got this high-tech engine hoist. Still got the power valve wires attached. They are kind of a pain. There, I got one to come loose. To get to pop off these little deals here, you've got to get it, you know, they kind of wrap around and they attach. And then you've got hoses that run to your jet pump. You see that double one? I disconnected a hose that goes to it. You can see it down lower, down here. This hose hooks up to that. And what else? Oh yeah, my battery negative wire. I just pulled it. This is connected to the, somewhere on the engine. Runs all the way to battery negative. It feeds through under the hull, down under that hole. Not through the hole, but under it there's a spot. It's kind of hard to see all of this stuff. There's so much stuff in the way. But there's a... Okay, I've got the engine up. Still got the stator to worry about, stator wire. But I want to show you that I found that, you know, that piston was chewed. And I want you to look inside here. See what I see. This thing will focus on it. See that in there? Piece of piston ring or something in the reed valve. Now there could be pieces of something down in the bottom end as well. So it's gonna be probably a complete engine build on this job here. All right. Okay, so here is what was in our reed valve, and it did ruin that side. I'll show you. See how the reed valves are lifted up, and you can see through. The video's going through. Or actually, you can look through and you can see the light coming through. The edges, you can see through. Those edges of the reed valves are lifted up there. So those have got to be replaced. And it does have 4 on each cylinder, just like a Kawasaki. These are fine. See how they mate down completely flat, completely flush. Nothing wrong with those, but you have to buy them. What I believe that piece is, that piece of metal that came out of there, I believe is one of the shims. I can rotate this. You have spacers on your rods at the crankshaft, and I think this one right here may be the culprit. It split and went up and trashed that piston. So this has got to have a new crankshaft, so a new bottom end. This is a full engine rebuild on this ski because of that problem. It wasn't just a no oil problem. It was a mechanical failure on the crankshaft. You can hear it kind of, hear how it clunks. Shouldn't do that. And you get over here, this one, you don't have that noise like that from this side, but you can hear it. It's clunking. There's some slop in that rod. So something has failed on that. Oh, I can see it. I can see it rocking. Look in the middle of the rod there. See the slop? The bearing inside the bottom of that rod right there has failed. Because it's got, you can see it, I've got play back and forth before the rod even moves. So yeah, this is a full engine rebuild. Bad news there. At least it didn't sling the rod through the block or anything like that, which is another thing that these can do. And you know, it's more work than I had originally intended. But that's the way these things usually go. Anything you set your hand to fix is going to cost more money and take more time than you ever planned. So, Shade Tree Jet Ski, baby. We got it going on. I'll have the Kawasaki running before this. I need to sell another ski to get the money to build this engine, because I don't have the extra money on hand to build this one right now. Okay, so it ended up being a pretty major job to, instead of removing this whole front cover so that I could have my stator wires free, I'm guessing Yamaha, the engineers, decided, hey, we don't want the possibility of wiring problems, so they put no connectors between the box and the stator. I will give them props for putting the electrical box on this ski up in a place where it doesn't get water. This box doesn't look like it's ever had water in it. It's got a watertight seal. It's got several 8mm bolts that you take out to get to this. You've got the whole box is held in by two 12mm bolts on each end there. But I had to go into the wiring and pull all the wiring loose. The only ones that I was concerned about, and I think they're probably grounds, I went ahead and marked them with a marker with these two green ones. So I had two the same color. I put black marker on both of the greens so they would match up that side, and then the stator side, let's see here. See, I put black marker on the two greens. Maybe it don't matter. I don't know. They're probably grounds, but I don't want to take any chances of hooking the wiring back up wrong. But you had this ground, and you had a very short ground wire coming off of this plug here that goes directly into your CDI box. That is, you have a no spark condition on your jet ski. More than likely it's your stator, which is inside of this cover. Kind of a pain in the butt to change it, or this CDI box, this exciter box, whatever you want to call it. That's basically your electronic ignition box for this jet ski. But this ski had spark. I already checked it. Spark was good. The other thing that could go wrong if you don't have spark is your coil pack here. Most of the skis I've seen, the coil packs are all separate. This one is 2-in-1. And that orange wire runs over to your stator. Boom. Anyway, the wires were all color-coded except for the green ones. And then two grounds, one ground under each of these screws right here, grounding into this metal box that you got to take out to get the stator wires free and clear, so that now I can move the jet ski out from underneath this hoist and get the engine lowered down onto a little dolly and move it around. Some people pick these things up. I'm not going to try that. But I got, look at this, great lubrication in that front cylinder and just none in the back. So this, she wasn't getting oil in the back for some reason. And I can't see from looking at, you know, unless something's wrong with the pump, I don't know why it wasn't oil in the back. So the front cylinder's got plenty of oil. But I have to fix that. And it may be in the carburetor. There's something maybe clogged where the oil isn't getting through in that carburetor and sending it in through to the engine. So keep that in mind. Your carburetor could have caused this because the oil line was hooked up and it wasn't broken. Just diagnosing problems. Also in here, I'm guessing there's going to be a fuse inside of that. I think that has an access plate to get to from the outside. Yeah, see that right there? You can unscrew that to get to that fuse. If your jet ski won't start, it could be that fuse is blown because you tried to jump it off with a car or something, which I don't recommend. Anyway, this ski had spark before I started this project. Hopefully it'll have spark when I put it all back together. It's going to be a little while, but we'll get there. Gotta just take it a step at a time. Most people don't document every process, It's explaining sizes of bolts, where, you know, how things are. And, you know, I know I watch videos and I wonder, well, what did you do to get to this step? What did you do to get to that step? Anyway, well, while I'm in here, I explain this is your starter solenoid. If you have just a clicking and your starter won't spin, it could be this has gone bad or the connecting has gone weak. That's not too expensive of a part to replace. Yeah, anyway. Learning about Yamahas. First one I've ever really seriously worked on. Getting an education with every step. Shade Tree jet ski, baby. Moving on. Okay, taking a look at the Mikuni Solex dual carb that came off of my Yamaha XL 800. I have it soaking. And I noticed something. This is the cylinder. This is the way it sat in. So your cable's hooked in over here. And this was your rear cylinder. And guess what I found? I want you to look at. These are your carb adjustment screws right here. Low idle. This one is run all the way in. I mean, I can't even, okay, I barely can turn it in. This one is, you can see how much of the spring is showing on it, on the adjustment. It leaned out. Somebody leaned it out far too much. And they burned up the rear cylinder doing that. They leaned it out too much. And they burned that baby up. So now I know what caused the failure and why that cylinder ran completely out. You can see the, and way I'm measuring that is just in the space that you can see behind that silver there. That's what burned it up. This one was run almost all the way in. So very critical. Carb adjustments are very, very critical on a two-stroke. You run those things too lean, then they're not getting the oil that they need in that cylinder. You'd rather run one rich any day where it's smoking and foul out your plugs than burn up your dang engine like this one did. And this is obviously loose. But yeah, this is why we're building an engine. Somebody screwed with the carburetor. They did not set it to factory specs. You know, they leaned it out. They'll run better. It sounds better when you lean them out, but you'll burn your engine up. And that's what they did. Now I know. See, there's a needle. There's your low idle needle valve. And it was run in too far. Burn that engine up, baby. That's why you don't go to somebody who doesn't know anything about these. Oh, fix my jet ski. And I'm not an expert, but I know a little bit. Okay, I know a little bit. And I can learn, and we can all learn. But that's the problem right there. When I saw how far that was cranked in, that let me know what killed this ski. So there's a lesson for you. You got to have these settings right. You lean it out too much, you've killed your engine. And it won't take long to do it either.